The ARPG genre is expanding, with new and upcoming titles that focus on fast combat loot systems and character builds. These games offer a mix of action and progression, giving players plenty of ways to explore, fight, and grow stronger over time. Let's get into it! Land of Glarefall is an action-adventure survival game built around a day and night cycle. Daytime is used to gather resources, build structures, and prepare defenses. Night brings waves of enemies that test combat and planning. The player controls a royal investigator dealing with black gold, using crafting for gear and items, managing hero skills, recruiting mercenaries, and preparing for boss fights with careful use of resources and positioning. Ashbound Crown of Sin is an isometric action-adventure set in a dark, war-torn setting. Combat uses fast, precision-based mechanics that combine melee attacks, ranged options, and abilities requiring timing and control. Players unlock new skills to shape their combat style while facing different enemy types. The game also includes interactions with survivors and allies, along with progression through battles across multiple regions affected by corruption and ongoing conflict. Astera is a fast-paced action RPG set in a steampunk fantasy setting. Combat uses active abilities, combos, and responsive enemy behavior that requires timing and positioning. The game allows dual-class specialization, letting players combine two classes for different combat styles. Dungeons use a roguelike system with changing layouts and upgrades during each run. Character progression includes equipment-based builds, while multiplayer supports cooperative play alongside a full solo option.
World, forever reshaped by the Sundering.
The Sundering?
Listen closely now. Long, long ago, in the twilight of a lost age, there was a war that tore the heavens apart. A war between man and gods. Against all odds, the human spirit endured. The cruel gods of old were cast into oblivion. But at a terrible cost. So few of us survived, clinging to life in the crevices of a world set aflame. The age of desolation followed, a cold, unending night. Children born into shadows wished for a dawn they had never seen, while the old, embraced by the chill, found no grave to call their own. Yet, through the darkness, we persisted, a flicker of hope on a scorched rock. The Eternal Watchers, our silent guardians, led us through that endless night. Keepers of ancient wisdom, they heralded the age of reclamation, a time of healing and hope. Now, at last, Astera breathes anew.
Can I become a keeper?
A keeper of the Eternal Watchers? That path is steep and narrow, perhaps harder to tread than that of a general or king. Few are chosen, but if you train with heart and mind, you might find your way. For on top of huddled shadows we stand. Our endless vigil must not falter.
Isles of Krom is a top-down extraction ARPG set in a dark fantasy archipelago. Combat uses close-range attacks and careful timing against strong enemies across interconnected islands. Each run involves sending a ward to gather materials and return safely through an extraction system. Resources are used to craft and upgrade gear between attempts. Failure results in loss, while success strengthens future wards. Gimle the Broken Prophecy is an isometric role-playing game set in a Norse-inspired setting after a great conflict. The player controls Brand using melee and ranged weapons, along with supernatural abilities in combat. Progression includes collecting items, trading resources, and improving character stats and attributes. The game also includes decision-based outcomes that influence events alongside combat encounters, exploration of varied locations, and skill development through an extensive system.
One thing that terrifies him. It's your Huger. Discover your destiny. Face the dead armies. And mend the broken prophecy. Only you can defeat Arch-Ludwig.
Godforged Origins of Ozgalor is a single-player action RPG set in the world of Nelithar. Combat uses real-time abilities with rune-based mechanics, allowing class blending between different specializations. The player manages a corruption system linked to Massalite, affecting abilities, environments, and character reactions. Progression includes rebuilding a stronghold, forming alliances, and handling world events. Choices influence quests, dialogue outcomes, faction behavior, and access to resources and support. Grim Axiom is an action-adventure game set in a dark, underground labyrinth filled with undead enemies and ancient machines. Combat uses a stamina-based system that requires timing, spacing, and careful movement with limited healing available at checkpoints. The player can also avoid fights by sneaking past threats. Progression includes collecting weapons, armor, and temporary buffs from plants, along with solving puzzles, completing side tasks, and unlocking new areas. Loulan the Cursed Sand is an action RPG set along the Silk Road in a fallen kingdom. The player controls a skeletal warrior who can switch between bone and sand forms, each offering different combat styles and interactions. Combat uses melee mechanics with positioning and enemy management in top-down encounters. Sand abilities are used for both fighting and solving puzzles. Progression includes learning new skills, facing elite enemies and bosses, and moving through varied handcrafted areas. Echoes of Myth is a top-down roguelite action RPG built around tactical combat and repeated runs. Combat uses weapons, spells, dodging, and parrying against telegraphed enemy attacks with limited healing. Each run involves choosing relics, talents, and upgrades to shape different builds. Progression includes collecting resources to unlock permanent upgrades between attempts. The game also uses a semi-randomized map where players select paths, encounters, and rewards while advancing through different areas. Helrift is an MMORPG focused on faction conflict between two rival towns competing for territory and resources. The game uses a classless system where players build their character through stats, skills, and equipment combinations. Combat includes open-world PvP, PvE encounters, and large server events that affect control and rewards. Progression also involves gathering resources, crafting items, trading in a player-driven economy, and developing different combat roles through flexible skill choices. Darkhaven is an isometric action RPG set after the collapse of civilization in a dark fantasy setting. The game uses procedurally generated environments combined with fully destructible terrain, allowing players to dig, build, and reshape the land. Combat focuses on movement, positioning, and enemy behavior with actions like climbing, jumping, and dodging. Progression includes collecting powerful items, developing skill trees, and interacting with persistent worlds that support solo, co-op, and PvP play. Crystalfall is an online action RPG set in a world damaged by an asteroid where combat and progression depend on loot and skill combinations. The game uses a classless system based on attributes, allowing flexible character builds. Skills are obtained as loot and include randomized upgrade paths, while talent trees expand customization. Gameplay includes dungeon runs with changing layouts, item upgrading and trading, and a progression loop that continues through repeated endgame activities and seasonal resets.
This power is not for anyone to wield. The world would descend into chaos. All they're good for is brawling and stealing and killing, destroying all that we have built. They need to get used to the fact that this world does not belong to them. It is our duty to keep order, to keep them in place, and that requires sacrifice.
Don't you ever get tired of hearing yourself talk?